amount of times that my ego would get me into situations where I'll be like, you know what, fuck you, and then I'll just be like, oh shit, now I can't see my daughter. You know, and I just make these impulsive decisions because I was egotistical, and you know, it was the power of now that completely stripped that for me.
Wow.
And it was, as soon as I opened it, it just, everything jumped out, and I read it from start to finish in one sitting, and dude, monumental changes in my life. Really? Absolutely. You know, like got off all the drugs, started kickboxing, like turned my life around, and throughout that, I think I've just like jumped right over, but like throughout that, I've like fully turning my life around and for the better, and being real proud of who I was as a person. For my last girlfriend, it still wasn't enough. I was still unpredictable. But it's like fuck.
It's really inspiring, that little bit there, mate, because I mean, sure, I mean, you know, that's the journey again though, isn't it? It happens like this, you know, and sure, you know, as you say in your words, you weren't enough for your last girlfriend, I think, but you're better than who you were when you were in your early 20s, you know?
Yeah, man, absolutely.
That's unbelievable. It's actually unbelievable to hear you say that you have respect for someone that your daughter calls dad and father. You know, that's a hard pill to swallow for everyone, you know? So how often do you see your daughter? So she's over in New Zealand?
No, she's in Rarotonga.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Rarotonga. Yeah.
So you got to fly to New Zealand, and then you got to fly 3 hours into the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Right. Okay. So it's like a completely different time zone. And it's 30 kilometers around. It's just this tropical paradise.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and they've just built a house 200 meters from the water's edge. Palm trees, like coconuts just falling around. Like
we're in a garage now because it's been raining all day.
And I'm going to be there in 3 weeks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm going over with my mum. But not often, and that's crippling. So I raised her, bro, changed her nappies, like took her on my quad bike on the farm, like everything. She'd sit with me in my studio when I made music, and she'd just press things, and she was such an inquisitive little kid, man. And I made the mistake of moving to Australia, and I thought that I'd be able to achieve more in life, and then in turn provide my daughter with more stability. Because at the time I was doing drugs, I was working a job that was like barely 30 grand a year, and I was DJing like on the weekend, so like it was a juggle, you know. And I made the decision to come over here, and that's when everything fell apart, bro. Like everything in terms of me seeing my daughter. And it took 2 relationships, 2 relapses for me to realise that the only thing that makes me the happiest is my daughter. And so I need to focus on her. Like whether it's keeping a relationship up, talking to her all the time, planning trips to Rarotonga, you know.
So you got a budget?
Yeah.
Yep.
And she was asking me for a year, like a solid year, every time we spoke, when are you going to come over? When are you going to come over? And the day that I was like, hey, I've got tickets. Oh. And my mum's coming with me, and my stepdad. And before that, I'd seen her. It would have been 8 months from when I last saw her to when I'll see her next. And before that was 3 years.
Wow.
So I saw her when she came over here when she was 5. And then I saw her when she was 8. So difference of like a person that big and a person this big.
Yeah.
That's openly telling me about her dreams, and I'm realising, holy shit, I get sleep paralysis, and she's telling me about her dreams, and I'm thinking, oh fuck, you've got my brain. Yeah. She's very creative. She's very she's very like airy fairy, I guess. Yeah. She can't. I find it, obviously you can see it, I find it very hard to sort of sit still and concentrate for a long amount of time. And
Do you practice that ability too?
To sit still?
Yeah, well, I mean, you can practice sitting still in like other ways as opposed to just being like. I was reading an article, probably 2 weeks ago in the US. They have this architect built the most silent room in the world. It's just basically, I don't know how they did it, but you go in there, it's the most silence you will ever experience, you know. And most people can sit in there for no longer than 5 minutes before they have to come out. because to be with yourself
Yep.
and those thoughts, for more the best like meditators at it are pretty good after an hour. They're like,
Yeah,
right,
right.
let's be done there. Yeah.
It's like flotation tank.
Flotation tanks.
Style, eh?
Yep. I actually got pretty high and jumped into a float tank once. Pretty fascinating.
I really want to do one.
Yeah.
But
you don't have to do the weed, but it's so therapeutic just to
Yeah.
go in there and be still. You know,
See,
it's hard. It can be hard.
I've got real bad damage to my right ear from the music.
Yep.
So I get like constant audio dropouts, and I've got 24/7. I've got like real high pitched tinnitus.
Tinnitus. Yeah.
So the thought of being in a silent room is not appealing. It scares me, bro. Like when I'm going to sleep, I have to have a fan on or something to create a noise. Otherwise, I'll focus on my tinnitus to the point where it's like the sound is insane.
Yeah.
It feels like the whole neighborhood could hear it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'll move or rustle something, and then it's just like gone.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, whoa, like, yeah. So to sit still and be without stimulation, I can do that provided I've got like oral stimulation. Otherwise, I start to lose it.
You go crazy.
There was a moment when I was living in Wellington where I had to talk myself out of sticking a chopstick in my ear. It was that bad.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that was a bad time.
Yeah.